Hello, my name is Gwen Feazell, and welcome to my debate. My critical issue topic is, can school improvement efforts alone narrow the racial ethnic achievement gap? The answer to that question is no. Schools cannot do this alone. But first, what is the achievement gap? An achievement gap occurs when one group of students outperforms another group. It is seen most often in the Black-white achievement gap, but it can also be seen with Hispanic and white students. The two students' test scores determine the achievement gap. Most notably, we are in the midst of an ever-growing, widely noticeable achievement gap. The achievement gap began years ago when the minority students could not perform as well as their white peers on a particular standardized test. As I stated earlier, the answer to the question is no. There are many stakeholders that can shoulder the blame for this gap. There are the parents, the policymakers, communities and the churches, and of course, the students themselves. The parents need to become more involved in their child's education. Research shows that when parents are involved, the children usually have higher grades and higher test scores. It has been said that parents are a child's first teacher. Parents have a responsibility to teach the value of an education by modeling at school and at home. Parents at home need to read to their children. And if you have older siblings, make sure that they read to you. I do know that in elementary school, they have a 15-20 minute reading time that students have to do every evening, and they have to read to their parents. So that is a good way, parents, for you to know how your child is doing. So again, you need to get involved. You need to make sure that they do their homework. They do have homework, whether they say it or not. They do have homework. You can even get involved in your child's school. You can get involved, how you say, well, through the site committee, or working in the office, or being a room mother. When a child sees that you care, then they care. Next, the policymakers. In 2001, when President George Bush and Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act, it became obvious that the United States was lagging behind other developing nations, and Black students were lagging behind their white students in their academic performance. The United States students were lagging behind other developing nations until our students were tested. They found out in the testing that the Asian students were outperforming the white students, and the white students were outperforming the Black students as well as other minority students. Next, the communities and the churches can work together as one to be a partner with the parents to help be an extension of the family and to help steer our students in the right direction. Our students also have to be a part of the solution. First and foremost, they have to be a part of the solution. Some of our minority students are not performing as well as their white peers again on these standardized tests. But in order to help bridge this gap, the students need to stay in class. Yes, stay in class. Don't be in the hallway as much. Stay in class. Then you need to learn to read more. Read anything. Read Sports Illustrated, any other reading just to keep up your fluency level. You need to do your homework. Yes, you do have homework. Do your homework and be respectful of the people that are trying to help you. And in terms, I'm talking about your parents, I'm talking about the teachers at school, I'm talking about administrators, people at the church, people in your community. They're all trying to help you. They have a stake in wanting to do the best for you. But you as a student also, you have to put up an effort in class and show your interest in education. They can only help you so much. You have to be interested in what you are doing. According to the National Center for Educational Statistics, a difference in scores between black and white students can only be seen as a gap if the difference is larger than the margin of errors. There are certain factors that affect this racial ethnic gap, such as demographics or population changes. And that's when other minority groups move into the neighborhood and then they start going to the schools. So the demographics change quite a bit. So you have to be aware of that, and that's a factor. The causes for gaps vary from school to school and from district to district and community to community. According to the National Education Association, there are school-wide factors as well, such as large class sizes. Usually when the classes are too large, some of the students get lost in the shuffle. Many unsafe schools, unsafe neighborhoods, and tracking groups of students into a curriculum that is not challenging enough for them. Some teacher-related factors are teachers that are not qualified and their poor teacher preparation. In other words, our teachers do need more training. The student's background is another factor, such as their income level, and of course their environment and where they live. The achievement gap is seen in graduation rates, dropout rates, and children living in poverty. But it can also be seen in coursework at school, in the economically disadvantaged student, and in special education classes. Finally, how can teachers narrow this racial ethnic achievement gap? One of the ways for teachers to narrow the gap is to be trained in how to teach students that learn in different ways. We have students that have different learning styles, and our teachers need to be aware of that so they can teach them in the way that they learn. There are also classrooms with a diverse student body, so teachers have to be better prepared to teach in a multicultural setting. Teachers also have to know the subjects that they are teaching and learn some effective techniques for working with low-achieving students. At the University of Wisconsin, Professor Haveman said this. He describes the gap as an educational debt, which states that, and I quote, "If school resources which should have gone to investing in lower income students, in which the deficit leads to social problems such as crime, low wages, low pay, and etc. If the resources had gone to the students who it should have gone to, then it could go a long way to reduce this achievement gap. Without the education debt," he says, "we could reduce the achievement gap." In conclusion, I think that there will always be a gap, but we are coming into closing it. The gap will eventually close, but I don't think it will ever go away. Although people will want to take credit for narrowing the gap, no one wants to take credit for widening it. Until all stakeholders come together and realize that they work better as a team, then we can slowly work towards narrowing this racial ethnic achievement gap. Thank you.